Hello and welcome to this Adepticon 2025 preview video for Age of Sigmar number 4. Alright, we've talked about painting, we've talked about rules, now we're going to talk about gaming. Just a couple little quick tips on how to make your games go super smoothly and make sure that you're communicating super clearly with your opponent, and then maybe a little bit of extra at the end. So, first things we're going to talk about is that when you walk up to your table with your opponent, just introduce yourself, introduce your army, talk about your painting, talk about your conversions. All right. Number 2, when you're rolling dice, make sure that you let your opponent see their successes. What I typically do is I'll remove the failures so my opponent can see all the successes, right? Number 3, when you're measuring, make sure that your measuring tape is right there down on the table and that your opponent agrees with the measurements that you're making. Just verbalize it, right? When you're charging, for me, what I do is I measure first and then verify with my opponent, right? All right, we're getting into some super nitty gritty. Don't tell me how to play this game, Paul. I know how to play this game. I know, right? But the reason why I'm covering this is because there is gaming, right? It's super important. It's why we're here to play games of Sigmar with our friends. Well, that's actually kind of what I'm getting at. We're here to play games of Sigmar with people that we may not know before and probably don't know, right? Adepticon is amazing for many, many things. But one of my favorite things is because when you rock up to the table at Adepticon, you're rocking up to the table against somebody that you probably don't know, especially if you've never been before, right? And that can be really intimidating. But let me tell you something. You already know this person across the table from you. You know why? Because you know that they love painting miniatures. You know that they love tabletop war games. And you know that they enjoy playing Age of Sigmar. And that's a pretty solid start to a really good conversation. And I tell you what, when you rock up to an Age of Sigmar game, that's a 2-hour-long conversation. This might be a little deep, but it's also 100% true. Because I can't tell you the number of people that I have rocked up to a table that I didn't know that have become lifelong friends. And you know what? It's really cool because once a year, so many of those lifelong friends come back to Adepticon and I get to see them again. In today's day and age, it can be really hard to meet people and have a genuine connection with people that you share passions with. Especially that you share passions with that do not have an ulterior motive, right? They're not trying to sell you something. They're not trying to do all these things to get you into your group. You're already here because you both love the same things, right? When that person across the table shows up, there's already something to talk about. There's already something you've done to prepare. You have painted this army. You have built, assembled, painted, learned the rules. There's so much about it, right? So I'm going to just implore you, do not waste that opportunity. A game is great. Winning is fantastic. But at the end of the day, 200 of us are going to show up for the event, and 200 of us are going to go home without winning because there's going to be 1 or 2 people that have the championship. And that's going to be awesome. And that's one of the points of having the tournament, right? One of the main points. Finding out who on that day is doing great, has rolled well, had a little bit of luck, and won. That's fantastic. That's an awesome story. But for everybody else, that's not their story. And that's not actually terrible. Because the story is the people that you're playing against, the experience of playing in the event itself, right? And that's what makes Age of Sigmar great, and that's part of the reason why we love it so much. Because it actually does allow us to have these genuine conversations with people that we don't know. And that's genuinely amazing. And so when we're rocking up to the table, just keep that in mind. The person that you're playing against, they have their own skill, their own talent, their own art they have brought to the table. And it is a privilege to play against other people who have spent that much time to prepare to meet somebody for the first time. And it's genuinely fantastic. Allow yourself to have some fun, roll some dice, and make some new friends along the way. So let's roll on to Adepticon.